Welcome to Arva Halfling, where we talk about lore doings and a little bit about D&D. So let's get to it. Today we're doing something different and something I'm so excited about. I'm going to be doing an illustration over Chapter 11 of the Silmarillion, of the Sun and Moon and the Hiding of Valinor. So let's get started. Hi, so here I'm just getting started on my drawing. So we're drawing Arien and Tilion, and I have to say this was so far my favorite chapter. I really enjoy stories and mythologies that sort of explain nature, and this was a wonderful story to explain how we have the rotating of the sun and moon, how we have days, and how we have the like a solar eclipse, or how I guess Middle Earth has a solar eclipse. And so I just really like how Tolkien sort of explained it. And I really liked that the sun was female, that we have Arien, and that she's this mighty warrior and everything. And I think that's really cool. I did a lot when I was younger, research in Greek mythology and Roman mythology, and a little bit in Egyptian mythology. And with Greek, well, with all three of those, the sun was always a male. You have Helios, you have Apollo, and then you have, I think it's Ra for Egyptian mythology. And then for the moon, I think for all of them, or I guess really for Greek and Roman, they were female, and for Egyptian, it was male. They had a male god as the moon, which I don't really think that having the moon as a male is too uncommon, because you have the whole like it's the man on the moon, so that's not too abnormal. But having a female as a sun, I thought was really interesting, and when I kind of did my own little research and looking into that, it turns out, surprise, if you're a big Tolkien fan, he takes a lot of inspiration from Norse mythology. And in Norse mythology, the sun is a female and the god of the moon is a male, and they're brothers and sisters. So I thought that was really interesting. Not too much of a surprise coming from Tolkien, but still really, really cool. You don't see a female sun too often, or at least I haven't. So I thought that was cool. And I really appreciate that Tolkien wrote Arien as this strong, mighty figure. And I feel like in reading the chapter, you definitely hear more about Tilion than you do of Arien. But the bit that you do get of Arien, she is this powerhouse. She is just a strong female, and I really appreciate that and enjoy that. And so anybody out there who is maybe just a casual viewer of the movies or the books are missing out on some of the strong female characters that Tolkien has written, and Arien is definitely one of those women. I like that she's described as being someone that the Valar, it seems like they almost instantly knew, like, hey, we want this Maiar to guide the golden fruit. We want her to guide the sun, because Arien was already used to the heat and already used to tending to the flowers of Lorelin. And so she was just a given choice. But that also, when she takes on that role of guiding the sun, she discards her original attire, original form, and takes on this naked flame, which in my illustration, I kind of make that a little bit more literal. I'm sure like Tolkien probably expected her to be more of just a flame, but I definitely still gave her like a humanoid figure, but a flame. and and so yeah, so I like that she's a strong figure. I love that Morgoth hates her the most between the two, but also fears her the most. And he's just like, I don't have the strength or ability to fight her, so I'm just going to hide from her. And so I really like that. And as far as Tilion goes, the way I drew him, I really wanted to keep in mind that he is a hunter. he hunted with Arome, and so I wanted to give him that sort of physique. He's not this slim, trim kind of guy. I wanted him to look like a hunter, so I definitely try to like draw him a little more muscular, I guess, than you may normally find an elf. Although he's not an elf, so he's not elvish. So maybe I can get away with that. One thing that I messed up on him though, and I didn't catch it until afterwards, and I was like, oh, you silly girl. I didn't give him a silver bow, and I really regret that. It's a very dark brown, and maybe I could have just said nothing, and maybe y'all would have been like, oh yeah, it's silver-ish. But yeah, that's the only thing that I really regret about this drawing, that I was like, oh, I should have done that better. But oh well. Next time, I guess. But yeah, I wanted to keep Tilion as a hunter in mind when I drew him, and I also still wanted him to have this wandering, adventurous sort of feeling, and it's very subtle. But I don't give him shoes. I keep him barefoot. He kind of struck me as a person who would rather feel the grass between his toes rather than leather. So he's barefoot in this drawing. The other thing, as far as like the composition goes, I really wanted Tilion to be reaching out towards Arien and having that sort of longing feeling, when you look at this drawing, that he wants to be with her, but she's not really reciprocating that feeling, and he just can't get to her. So I really wanted this like unattainable love or attraction that he has towards Arien to be reflected in not only the drawing but also the song that I wrote for this, which, as far as the song is concerned, it is just instrumental. It's just a piano song. So like, I'm not going to be singing for anybody. Y'all don't want to hear me sing. And there's no like lyrics or anything like that. And so in the song, I called the song, Unattainable Love, because again, I really want that feeling of Tilion reaching out for her and not being able to get to her. So yeah, so that's represented in the song. So yeah, I wrote the song at 2 a.m. Like the first draft was at 2 a.m. I was so excited. I just woke up with just like full of inspiration. And I had this whole sort of story in mind in writing that song, where there was like 7 measures of just bass notes, because I really wanted it to like sort of represent the 7 days that it was just Tilion. And then there was like this moment of kind of this sunrise, and so him kind of seeing Arien, and then you kind of get this like feeling of him going up to the higher notes, trying to get closer to Arien, and then crashing down because he's being scorched or whatever. And so I really had like that whole motif in mind in writing the song, and I was very excited about it. I was very happy, and put it down, fell back to sleep for like 30 minutes, woke up, started my day. And I, at the end of, when my husband came home from work, I was like, oh, you've got to listen to the song. And I had already told him about the story, and I, kind of told him what my idea was for the song, played it for him, and he was just like, it's a good song, but I don't think it's the right song for this. And I was crushed because I was so proud of this song, and I was crushed. But I was like, okay, all right, he's right. I'm missing something here. It was just it sounded more melancholy. It was more of a tragedy. So I ended up renaming it A Tragedy and writing a different song for this. And so that night, I just played on the piano for a little while, just kind of piddled around to try and get like the feeling that I was wanting from this. And so the next day, I woke up and I was like, okay, what is my inspiration? What am I wanting from this song? I still wanted a melancholy feeling, and I still wanted this longing that Tilion has for Arien. And so I played, Felice, I played Moonlight Sonata because Beethoven is a huge inspiration for me and why I play the piano. And so that was the inspiration I was wanting to pull from in writing this song. And yeah, so I pulled those songs, and Moonlight Sonata was more of a stronger inspiration. So I took the key from that, which I believe it's a C sharp minor. And so I used that key to write this song, and I love it. It feels way more fitting. You can definitely feel the sort of melancholy, sad, longing love song, and a little, a slight rejection, because again, Arien never seems to reciprocate any sort of attention or affection towards Tilion in this chapter. So I wanted to hold on to that feeling. And yeah, I'm really proud of how that song turned out. So I'll definitely be playing that towards the end of the video. But yeah, and then I wanted to do this in watercolor because that's what I usually paint on. So obviously this is no Timbo Took, all right? That man is a master artist. Like, his work is just top notch. I love his paintings. I love watching his videos. This is not that. This is watercolor and characters. So I hope I didn't disappoint anybody in that. They were expecting Timbo Took kind of artwork. That's not this. But so I really enjoy using watercolors. It lays down a good foundation, and it's just, in my opinion, very relaxing to work with. You're kind of at the mercy of the water and how the water uh, sort of spreads and dries and all of that, but you do your best to control it. But really, the water has the upper hand. So yeah, I just really enjoy that. I really love how Arien turns out in this drawing. I think there's one more thing I'm going to do to it um, before the end of this video. And yeah, I love how she turned out. She just, I don't know. She just feels like a strong female character. I wanted to draw her in more like a superhero stance, I guess, to kind of give that feeling of confidence. And I wanted both hands holding the fruit to kind of show that her focus is entirely on this one thing. And Tilion, I have one hand on the flower and one hand reaching out to Arien to kind of show, he still has, he wants to be close to her. He just can't quite get there. So yeah, I really enjoyed this chapter. I was just struck with so much inspiration when I read this. I loved the characters. I love the story. I love that Morgoth is so afraid of Tilion. It's just like, yeah, you should be. She's awesome. And Tilion obviously knows that she's awesome. So the background, it's really hard to tell, and it's more for my own sake than probably the viewer's sake. But I think at first it's easy to tell that it's sort of the split of the sun and moon. But I have a very guilty pleasure drawing of drawing the face of the sun and moon together. And so there's this little bit of a point at Tilion's elbow. That is the moon's nose. So I also have an Instagram account called signed_VR, and that's where I do a lot of my artwork. So if you're interested, I do have a drawing of the sun and moon on there. I just did it with I think it was with crowns or Crayolas. I think that's what I used for that one. But it's a guilty pleasure drawing. So being able to kind of tie that in here and put the characters to it was great for me. I really loved it. And this was just an instant image that I had in my head. Although I kind of wish I was able to maybe fit in what I really imagined the vessels, but I really want to focus on the characters and expressing that sort of longing feeling that Tilion has. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed this whole process, and I hope this process has been relaxing for you guys and enjoyable for you guys, because I'll definitely be making more. So I hope you'll like them. There's more coming. But yeah, there's one thing in filming, I do end up adding stars to the background, and unfortunately my camera turned off at that point, but otherwise you're going to get to see the last bit of this drawing and illustration and get to hear Unattainable Love. So I hope you guys enjoy, and yeah, I hope you get the whole feeling of the story in all of this. So I'll let that start playing now. Hi, excuse the wardrobe change, it's a new day, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I very much enjoyed every part of this video. I enjoyed writing the song, doing the drawing, and then obviously putting it all together and just talking about everything I love about this chapter and about the drawing and the music and all that. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this, because I will definitely be doing more of these videos. So yeah, stick around for Thursday. We're going to be doing another chapter of the Silmarillion. But otherwise, may the hair on your toes never fall out. Bye.